everybody. I'm Shrodes, Certified Diabetes Parent and Education Specialist at Ohio State. This is Chef Michael Carnahan, and behind the scenes is Cameron Stauffer over there. I had to look at her to say her name. And we have two great interns with us today, Kira and Peyton, and they're helping to run the camera and the audio. This is diabetes-friendly cooking demo, and in 20 minutes, we're going to show you how to make a curry soup, naan bread, and pickled vegetables. So this is going to be an easy weeknight, cold weather, wonderful meal, right?
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. I'm going to start off with making the quick veg. So I've already got the water in the saucepan. Oh, and if you haven't been with us before, if you want to ask a question, just put it in the chat. And if you want to talk to other people on the chat, do that as well. We're happy to answer questions. And Cam will just let us know if we need to stop. All right, so we've got the water here, and it's almost simmering. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. And to that, I'm going to add the sugar. Add vinegar now?
Yeah.
All right.
And salt.
And salt.
So this is what we
All of
call
this?
like a quick pickle, yeah.
Okay. All right. And so we're just going to bring this to a simmer, let the salt and the sugar dissolve. And while that does that, I'm going to slice the veg. We've got a red onion, we've got some radishes, cauliflower, and carrots. But I think you could use whatever's in the fridge. This is a really good, clear out the fridge before you get that green slime kind of thing. And so I'm just going to cut this really thinly. Now the quick veg are really nice when you're in a hurry. What you're not going to get is the fermentation process. And so the lactic acid and then the probiotics that are so good for your gut. But boy, do they taste good. And you can use these for all sorts of things. I always make quick veg pickles, red onions specifically, when I have tacos.
Do you use a red vinegar for that? Red wine vinegar?
I don't. I mean, it turns red.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. And Mike, I see that you put turmeric in this recipe. Turmeric is one of those spices that's been known to help blood sugar control. I'm not so sure that it's going to be in the quantity that would help blood sugar, but it sure adds a really nice color.
Yeah, there's a lot of medicinal purposes for turmeric. I see people using that quite a bit. We're going to do, turmeric is a cousin of ginger, actually. So we're using it for mostly the color and the flavor. And then we're going to add just a little bit of crushed red pepper. If you don't like it spicy at all, you don't have to do that. You can add different spices to this, mustard seeds or some other kind of spices to this. But for this Indian dish, this is a kind of a typical mix. And you can use cucumbers in this, any other kind of veggies you have in there. I love doing pickled veggies before they turn bad in your fridge. Just use them up, and they're really good to use.
All right, and go the
It tastes good.
radishes. And that is up to a boil. Thanks for turning it down. And I'll try to quickly do these.
Turn that off.
We had some questions in the chat about the sugar. So first question from Karen is, would coconut sugar or monk fruit sweetener work in this instance?
You'd probably have to adjust the seasoning on the monk fruit because we're using about a half a cup of sugar in this recipe. But certainly, I mean, you can certainly adjust that a little bit and use probably any kind of sugar you want. You wouldn't have to boil this. The only reason we're boiling this is to dissolve the sugar. So if you just want to bring your water up to a simmer, turn it off, add your monk fruit, add your maybe even agave or any other thing that you want to add into that. You could do honey in there. You could do a little corn syrup if you wanted to, if you didn't want to dissolve it right away. Whatever your preferred method or your preferred sweetener is, certainly add that in there.
And I would imagine the question has to do with managing blood sugar. I'm not sure, but that's a great question to ask.
Yeah, we have another question. What is the purpose of the sugar in this recipe?
It's just for the sweet and the tang in the recipe. You really, I mean, when you're doing pickled stuff, you have the dill flavor or you have the sweet pickle flavor. This one is for the sweet pickle flavor. I don't know if you would necessarily need the sugar in this recipe, but it certainly adds a lot of flavor to the veggies that we're doing. It kind of offsets the turmeric and the salt a little bit. So for this recipe, I would advise a little bit of sugar. If you're going to make dill pickles or something like that, it doesn't require a lot of sweetness, but
And I would say play around with it.
Yeah.
If the amount of sugar worries you, I would test blood sugar before, have the veggies, test 2 hours after, and see what you think. If you think that the sugar is affecting you, then cut it down or don't do it at all. There's a lot of liquid that isn't going to be ingested, right? It's just going
Yes.
to pickle those.
we're gonna
veggies.
pickle. We actually drained. We made the batch yesterday, so they pickled a little bit more and drained off the liquid. So we're not really drinking the liquid off of this batch. We're just using it to flavor this veggies.
So I'm going to put some heat in there with the pepper flakes, turmeric, and that's it.
And then typically we cool that down a little bit, just so it's not boiling as much. But in this demo today, we'll just pour it over the veggies and let it set for a little bit. We'll see how they look. And that's it. It's really simple. And then you could, once these cool off, you could pack them in a little jar and keep them in your fridge like refrigerator pickles for probably up to a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. But usually they don't last that long because they're so delicious.
They never last long.
They never last long.
I mean, I think that if we had a couple more people here, that this would be gone by the time we were leaving today. All right, so those are gonna sit there and you can see that that nice yellow color is gonna add, well, let's just show.
Yeah, the turmeric's
is-
coming out really beautifully.
And these are some pickled vegetables that Chef Mike made earlier in the day. I love
Those
that.
were yesterday. I
red.
made those yesterday. Those
You
were
made
one
them
day.
yesterday.
Yeah.
I
So one
love
day.
the color. It's so pretty. All right, so now we're gonna move over to make the dough for the naan. We've got 2 cups of flour here, but we're not gonna add all of it at once. We'll put most of it in there.
This is a really easy yeast-free recipe that she's gonna make. Our yogurt?
Mind if I use this?
No, good.
There
Our
goes the
Greek
yogurt.
yogurt.
And I said, when I took the lid off of this yogurt, it smells so good, so delicious. Is this full fat or is it low fat?
It's full fat, yeah.
Okay. Could you do this with low
You
fat?
could use low fat. We had full fat in stock, so I just grabbed that.
And I didn't do the dry together first. Should I have?
It doesn't matter. We gotta mix it all up. We have some baking powder in there and just a little pinch of salt.
All right.
We're gonna mix this up really good. This is a really easy version of this to do with your soup. You can do this while your soup's simmering on the stove or while your veggies are marinating here, but this is a really easy recipe there. You don't have to wait for the yeast to bloom and all the other stuff.
Easy to do it at night. And I like this too because you can control what you're eating here. You can control how big your naan are. You can figure out what the carbohydrates are easily from this recipe. Okay. And once this is kind of in a scraggy ball, I'm glad I didn't fill that color in there.
Yeah.
And you have to start off, even though a recipe might say a certain amount of flour, you want to start off with all of it.
Well, all that flour will work in there. I mean, it's just a matter of working it in until it's nice and smooth. But the recipe that we have posted today will certainly take all that flour. It should make about 8 really nice, I call them like pancake size naans. So
You just got to be patient.
yeah, you just gotta be patient, roll them in there. And if you have any stress, now's the time to roll it out. Just take it out on your naan right here.
You've always got some stress, right?
Yep.
This might lower your blood sugar. Exerting some energy here. Mike's gonna heat up the pan for me, and this doesn't have any oil in it, but the ones that Mike made earlier, he did use a little bit of olive oil to get that brown color. Can you guys see these?
Put them a little.
So that was made earlier, and that's so appetizing to have that caramelization
Yeah, you
on
need a
there.
little bit of color in there.
Probably brings out the flavor of everything, and there's a lot of flavor in that yogurt. All right, yeah, and I can see, that flour is getting incorporated in there. So the recipe says to do this for about 2 minutes.
Yeah. If you want to do this on your mixer, just put your dough hook on there, and I'd say put it on low for probably 3 or 4 minutes. and you can incorporate all that flour in there as well.
So I know we're gonna get the question, right? Can you do it gluten-free?
We actually did a gluten-free pita. It's very similar to this. I wouldn't have any questions that you could do that gluten-free. Just do a little almond flour or coconut flour, rice flour maybe. I would try to play around. Sometimes the ratios are not exact, but I'm sure that there are recipes floating around on the internet somewhere where you can make those gluten-free.
And let's talk about gluten-free just a little bit. Gluten-free doesn't necessarily mean low carb. In fact, sometimes it means more carb. So if you want lower carb, then you kind of want to do like the almond flour, not the rice flour. But here I think, I like the regular flour. And what I'm going to do is just portion control. I'm going to figure out what I want to eat and before I sit down to eat it. I'm going to enjoy every bit of the naan. All right, what do you think?
Looks good.
We have a question about how to reduce the salt in the naan bread.
So you could actually not add any salt at all and just salt them as you're cooking them for a little flavor. And since this is going with the soup, I mean, you wouldn't need to add that much salt at all, really. We do it just for the flavor. And in this recipe, the salt is generally there just for the flavor. So if you wanted to cut back on the salt, certainly you could. You just need just a touch to add. The acid in the yogurt's going to offset the baking powder. So you could do without the salt.
And technically, what is a pinch of salt? Is it an eighth?
There is a measuring device out there for a pinch, but everybody's pinch is different.
I've heard different things. I've heard a quarter of a teaspoon. I've heard an eighth
I've
of
heard
a
of eighth of
teaspoon.
a teaspoon is about a pinch, about one of my pinches, but you could certainly do without the salt in this recipe.
Okay.
And then this should make about 8 little naans, and we just make that into a little ball and then mark it in 8 little wedges and then roll them out. And then Jenny's got some that she's going to roll out.
Yeah, so this is half a recipe. So we've got four little balls, right? And I'm just going to keep this surface here, maybe move some of those big globs out of the way. Start with my hands. Clear the decks. And I like that oval shape, so I'm going to try to get that from the beginning.
I think classically in Indian, they do a little pear shape or teardrop shape.
And we're going for quarter of an inch thick.
Yep, maybe a little thinner.
Other than that.
They kind of poop up a touch, not a whole lot, but just a little touch when you cook them. That looks really good. Do you want a little olive oil?
I think so. Seems kind of dry. I made some. All right.
So this is nice and warm. And keep this on really low heat just until you see them start to bubble. And those cook about 2 to 3 minutes on each side if you have a nice warm pan. Jenny and I were talking earlier, we could do this in the oven. If you have a sheet pan, you can spray them. You don't have to, but they get a little more color on them if they have a little bit of moisture.
Yeah,
Or
to
like
take
a
a
little
pizza
oil.
stone
Yeah, pizza stone would
or a
work really nice.
steel
Or a steel.
if you're fancy.
So while Jenny continues to do these, I'm going to start on this soup. We're doing this really easy curry soup. Just as I start, the oven goes off as planned.
That oven is like your arch nemesis.
Yeah, this stove is very challenging, but we're working with it today. So we're going to do a really quick saute. Okay, got it back. Okay, so we're going to do a really quick saute for this soup. It calls for the mirepoix first, which is basically the carrot, celery, and onion. And we'll start with a little onion. We're going to start with just a little bit of olive oil in this pan.
This is a very colorful meal. Like just looking at the ingredients, it's so beautiful. It screams fall with the orange squash. That squash has got a little bit of carbohydrates, but the nice thing about winter squash is that it's not as much carbohydrates as a potato. So I encourage you to try acorn and butternut, and maybe try it in different ways than just with butter and brown sugar. It's very versatile. It adds thickness to soups and even sauces, purees.
How are those coming? Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's great. Put it here. Can you see it? Okay, good.
Looks very nice.
So it's browning with a little bit of that olive oil. I got another one ready to go.
So on this recipe, we're going to saute the onions for just a moment until they're a little translucent. And then we're going to add our garlic. We'll chop some garlic up here really quick.
And while you're doing that, I forgot to tell you, Cam, maybe you saw it, that there's some holes. Okay.
So we're going to add our garlic. And this just cooks really quick.
It smells really good. I'd love to know, we've had maybe 2 mornings now where it's been really cold, like sweatshirt weather. What's everybody making?
It's definitely soup weather right now.
Yeah, chili. I've really been thinking about making some chili.
Okay, so we sweat our garlic in here just a little bit. And then we're going to add the rest of our carrots and celery. And this cooks for a few minutes just to get this nice and soft. We can smell the garlic going in
It
here.
smells so good. Whoa, see that?
Man down.
Oh, man.
So once this starts to saute, we'll add our butternut. And the simmer time on this is really going to depend on how small or how large you cut your veggies. So the smaller the veggies, the quicker it's going to cook. If you want to go for a bigger dice, it's going to take a little bit longer.
And you can even do that ahead of time, can you?
You can do all the mirepoix or all the veggies ahead of time.
Yeah, so if you've got some time on the weekend and you just want to have something partially done, you could do that. You can make it extra and use it for other recipes. It's always great to have. I always love to have some veggies that are already prepped. I feel like I've got to jump on the week.
Okay, so we're just sauteing this briefly. Getting some little color in this. Sorry, our stovetop shut off on us again here. We're kind of playing with this.
May I steal some?
Yeah. So once we have the veggies sauteed really nicely, we're going to add our flour to make a roux. This is going to be the thickening part of this soup. So once we have our veggies sauteed very nicely, we're going to go ahead and add our flour and just kind of create a little roux from the olive oil that we started with. And once we soak up all that olive oil with our veggies and our flour, we'll add our stock. We're using a veggie stock. That's beautiful.
I love it when there are bubbles.
We're using a veggie stock today, so we're going to add our stock.
Do you make your own veggie stock?
We can. This one I did not. We haven't had a whole bunch of veggies in there to be able to make them with. But whenever we have big events and we have a bunch of veggies laying around, it's easier to make veggie stock. So
go into compost.
yeah. And then we add our potatoes. We cut up some Yukon Golds in this recipe. And then this just needs to simmer for a little bit with our spices. So in this recipe, we're using 2 different spices. We're using a garam masala, which is there's a couple different spices in this. So this one contains the coriander, the cumin, the black pepper, the cinnamon, the cloves, the nutmeg. And that's really a traditional kind of Indian spice. And now let's talk about curry powder. Curry powder is usually a blend of spices that's very similar to this. But curry powder has a couple additional spices in it, like garlic, ginger, fennel, mace has in it usually. So we're going to use both of those, and we're going to add just a little bit of curry powder.
Aren't you impressed with all that? I mean, you remembered all those spices, just like.
So a lot of times I
The
make
top
my
of your
own
head.
curry, or gram masala. You can make your own spices. Just look up chances are you have most of the ingredients already in your spice cabinet. And once this comes back to a simmer, we're going to be waiting on the veggies to get tender. So this has to simmer for about 10, 15 minutes, depending on how big you cut your veggies. And then the last process of this is just to fold in our coconut milk and our green peas. I have those over here. But this is going to have to come to a simmer and let it simmer for about 10 minutes. Can you smell all that curry powder?
I can smell all of it. I love it.
All the
This is when I
spices.
would turn the hood on at my house. Because my whole house will smell like it.
I don't mind my whole house smelling like this. This would be really good. So she's going to town on these naans over here, just really making them nice. They look beautiful. We're going to get to try this here in just a few minutes. And then I did make a batch of this earlier because this is going to take about at least 10, 15 minutes to simmer. I did make a batch of this earlier.
Ooh, I'm going to show off. Check it.
And it almost looks the same. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
This almost looks the same with our addition of the coconut milk and the peas in it. That's the last finishing. And once you taste it, make sure your veggies are nice and tender. And if you want to do a little salt and pepper at the end, that's fine. But usually the intense flavors we have, the curry powder, all that stuff really has a lot of nice spice to it, a little bit of heat to it, and you don't need a whole lot of salt and pepper in this recipe. So we're going to put together one of these dishes here really quick and show you how this comes together. I had a bowl right here. So this is our beautiful finished, quick, easy curry soup.
And the only thing in there that we're talking about with carbs is those gold potatoes. You don't need a pound. You can cut that down if you want to. You're already making a roux to thicken it up, so you don't necessarily need all those potatoes. You could cut down the carbs by cutting that down a little bit.
And then we're going to garnish it with a few of our spicy, or a few of our veggies, our pickled veggies.
Oh, and also the peas and carbs there. But I think the nutrition content on this was less than 12 grams per serving. That's not bad. So that's my timer for my.
Let me check your coconut really quick.
Thank you. So I brought in some unsweetened coconut because I grew up eating toasted coconut on my mom's chicken curry. And so we're going to have that here. So experiment with different toppings at home. Cam, do we have any results of the poll?
Well, so I haven't put all of them in yet, but I did ask what fall and cold weather recipes people are making, and chili was the number one answer.
Yes.
That's what everyone's making. But now I'm going to add in the other ones. And you guys can answer here.
And we have a little bit of our coconut on here. And then these beautiful naans. I'm going to take one.
I got greedy. I wanted it done right away. Woo! Sorry, I hope the alarm doesn't go off.
So we have our finished beautiful coconut curry soup. We have our pickled veg, and we have the homemade naan, which we knocked out in probably 15, 17 minutes, really easy, even though we had some of the stuff already setting here. But this is a really easy weeknight dinner. You can pull this together. And this makes 4 or 5 big portions of soup.
So you've got lunch the next day.
Be a great meal packer for the next day.
And just like any soup, it's going to get better over time. It's going to be delicious.
Do you guys have any other questions we could answer for you today?
So yeah, we do have a question from Donna. Where are the previous cooking demos to watch? So the ones we've done in the past, because she's new. I think she's a new participant. Registered.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that once you're registered, you can go into Demio and you can look at past demos. So there's always current and future and past or something like that. There are tabs at the top, and you can pick diabetes education series and pick past, and that should give you the past 3 years and some of our demos. But you let us know, is it Donna? Let us know, send us an email. We can put in the chat our emails. It's our first name dot last name at osu.edu, and we're happy to answer you. So let us know, Donna, if you can get to them. It's a great way, if you see a recipe that you really like, and it's nice to watch the video so you have an idea of how to go about it. I'm just burning the naan. Don't worry.
We have a question. What can we substitute for peas?
Nothing, leave them out.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking,
Just leave them out. I mean, peas, potatoes, and butternut squash. That's all your carbs, and if you don't like one of them, just leave it out.
Yeah.
Ooh, look at it bubble. This takes no time at all.
I know, this is really nice. So this takes about 10 minutes to make your
That's
veggies
really
nice and soft. We have our toasted coconut on there. The pickled veg, the beautiful naan. This is going to be a really nice lunch today. And, about 10 minutes after this simmers, and the last step in this is really just the coconut milk and the peas.
Can we talk about the coconut milk for a second?
Yes.
I noticed in the recipe you specified full fat coconut milk. Can we use light?
You can. It's not going to be as creamy.
You can use light.
This is a really rich soup.
Yeah.
I mean, you can certainly lighten it up a little bit.
So for sure, if you're a chef, you're using full fat coconut milk. But maybe in your kitchen on a regular night, you're using light so that you reduce that fat a little bit. Be kind to your heart, make it heart healthy. All right. If we don't have anything else, that's all we got today. Nothing else, Pam?
Can half and half be substituted for coconut milk? Coconut shoots my glucose through the roof. That was from Elvira.
Yeah, so I think you would, what would you say? You say you want to say, and then I'll say what I want to say.
Well, I mean, once again, the richness there. We used coconut milk just for the flavor in this recipe. You could certainly add a toasted coconut on there, but if you're not doing coconut at all, certainly you could leave it out. It would just be a curried soup. I mean, it's a great soup without it as well. I would eat it without it as well.
Yeah.
So not a big deal.
Yeah, you just changed it to meet your preference.
Right.
Now, as far as using half and half, if you don't want to use the coconut milk, half and half is not going to be my first choice because of the saturated fat content. I would say maybe use evaporated milk because that's going to give some richness and you're not going to have the fat associated with that. So canned evaporated milk.
Or maybe just a dollop of Greek yogurt on the top.
Okay.
As they serve it, if you still like the coconut, do a toasted coconut. If not, I mean, you're going to get that nice creaminess out of the yogurt.
This is super versatile.
Yeah. I love having these recipes where you can kind of make it your own, and this is one of those recipes. It just gives you a platform to be able to add different things into it and make it your own. So we love providing you with recipes that are versatile like that. So certainly add it. We'd love to hear some of your interpretations of it and some further reporting. So drop us an email and let us know what you think of this, or if you've added anything different that could be really tasty, and we'd love to share that.
I'm gonna need some help with that burner. Okay, we'll see you when will we see you? In 2 weeks. And we hope you have a great 2 weeks. If you need this, please take pictures, send it to us, let us know what you think. Bye-bye.
Bye.